Mercy, can you see my screen just to cross-check?
Yes, yes, I can.
All right, thank you. Hey guys, good morning. Um, yeah, so today I'm gonna continue with where we stopped last on Sunday. Sunday we talk about DNS. We discussed briefly what DNS is. We talk about like the name server, all the things authoritative name server, we resolve a name server. So we talk about all that. So today we are jumping into Route 53. So I'm just gonna go right into it. So I'm gonna type Route 53. Just gonna start it here. Click on Route 53. So this is the Route 53 page. So you can take a look at the products that you can get. You have the name, domain name, hosted zone, health check, traffic flow, resolver DNS, um, and then the benefits of Route 53. But first, um, let's watch. I'm gonna play this video so we can watch it. But let me share my computer sound.
The Domain Name System, or DNS, is basically the phone book for the internet. It translates human-readable names like
Messi, you can hear, right?
www.example.com to numeric IP addresses
Yes, I can hear.
used to talk to each
Okay.
other.
Thank you.
Amazon Route 53 is a DNS service that gives developers and businesses a reliable and cost-effective way to route end users to internet applications. Route 53 provides DNS service with 100% availability. The distributed nature of our DNS servers help ensure a consistent ability to route end users to your applications. Amazon Route 53 integrates seamlessly with other AWS services and can be used to map domain names to load balancers, Amazon EC2 instances, Amazon S3 buckets, Amazon CloudFront distributions, and other AWS resources. Additionally, Route 53 can also be used with your non-AWS resources. Route 53 traffic flow helps improve your application's performance and reliability for end users. If you're running your application in multiple regions around the world, you can easily set up routing using traffic flow to send each end user to the best location for them. Traffic flow also offers easy configuration of failover to reroute users to an alternate location if the primary application endpoint becomes unavailable. Route 53 provides 100% availability, integrates easily with other AWS services, and helps improve reliability with traffic flow. Learn more about Amazon Route 53 by visiting aws.amazon.com/Route 53.
Okay. Okay, guys. So that was Route 53. Um, so so Route 53 basically, as you saw on the video, it's a service that Amazon provides that helps you to route your internet connectivity. So we talk about like how the DNS is what actually makes the internet to work. So the DNS work directly with Route 53. Um, and Route 53, part of the DNS, there are other components that you have the name server, authoritative server, so all these things are working together. It's not just Route 53. Route 53 working under the authoritative server. Um, it it's important to note that it's not serving as a load balancer. What it does is it's help assign IP addresses. So it helps to point the users to the right resources. Here are some benefits of Route 53. Route 53 is highly available um, and reliable. So this is the future. One of the features for Route 53 is highly available and reliable. it is designed for use with other AWS services, so you can integrate it with other AWS services. It is simple, it is flexible, and then the use cases you can use to manage your global. If you have like applications, you want to manage global traffic, you can use that. You can use it for aliases. Aliases is just a way of like making sure that Route 53 is accessing your other resources within your AWS environment. Yeah, so what we're gonna do for this stuff, let me see here. So usually AWS has like their documentation, but for this, we are just gonna go into this one. So you can look at the pricing, the Route 53 pricing. So if we go back, you can look at the pricing here. I will tell you like, so it's not a free service. But Amazon charge you for the service. So they charge you here they charge you based on the hosted zones that you have right here. So they charge you 0.550 per hosted zone per month. So every month, this is what they will charge you. So if you have for the first 25 hosted zones, so if you have the first 25 hosted zones, Amazon will start charging you after that. So you can take a look at this. So like the standard query, this is the price. The latency-based query, this is the price also. And then you have the geolocation and geo-proximity. So we'll talk about these guys here. Don't worry about them. Yeah, so that's the pricing. So if we go back to Route 53, let's see. So documentation, let's see what AWS has for Route 53 documentation. Yeah, it's just going to be a lot of information about Route 53. So Amazon is telling you the first thing that you need to do to use Route 53, you have to register a domain name. So that's what we are going to do in just in a few minutes. Let me see what else is here. Let's see what is in here. Okay, this is just like some documentation. Guys, you can take a look at this documentation. AWS provide a very good walkthrough of everything here. So you can look at this, how domain registry works. So you can click on that. They give you like information, how the domain registry works. So it's really important to go through this documentation. There are a lot of information in here. So take your time for the test. It's really you'll be at peace if you for the test or for the exams. If you are familiar with some of the concepts for Route 53. This falls under networking actually. It falls under networking. So you can also get a PDF. So if you see here, say PDF, Amazon can give you the PDF of that Route 53. So you can look at the PDF here. But so I'm gonna go back here. But before we do that, I want to give let's talk about some terms and terminologies of Route 53. So I'm gonna bring my other screen here. Again, as I told you, you go to Geek for Geeks, you'll find this material there. So what is Route 53? So Amazon Route 53 is a highly available and scalable cloud domain name server system, DNS. So that's what the DNS stands for, domain name system, web server. So it's highly available. It is designed for developers and corporations to route the end users to the internet. So whenever you type in your internet, I already explained what the domain name system does. When you type google.com, it is the domain name. It is processed within that domain name before you actually get what you want. So so how does Route 53 works? Amazon Route 53 is it's an AWS service. It's an AWS service that offer a DNS domain name system web services, which is scalable and highly available. It is essential for conversion of users frequently domain names into IP addresses. So that's basically what I explained earlier. So whenever you access a website, it converts that domain name into an IP address, because the computer can only understand IP addresses. That's how the name. So you have the domain registration and management, and then we have global DNS resolution. So the .com that you see, the .org, these are all DNS name servers. There are corporations that are actually hosting those servers. So Route 53. So this is like how it looks like. So you, the user, you make a request. You put in you, the user, this is you. You type in a request, and then the request goes straight. You don't see this happen. It happened just like that, just like the twinkle of a finger. But you don't see this. It happens in the back end. So when you type google.com or youtube.com, it's going to go to the DNS server. The DNS server resolves the domain name queries on behalf of whatever you, the user. And then it sends it to Route 53. So Route 53 is going to be sitting here. That's why it's the authoritative name server. So it's going to be right in here, sitting right in front of, like, on the application. And then once Route 53 get that information, Route 53 return the IP address for the DNS records query by DNS resolver. So it's going to go, Route 53 is not just going to get the IP address. It has what we call health check, and that health check is going to check if the applications are healthy or not, or what your request that you are asking for is healthy or not. And then, so it's going to send that information up to like requests, like whatever endpoints that you have installed. Maybe it's going to be like a Lambda or S3 or something, whatever. Wherever the information is stored, it's going to get that information from there. So there are a few things that we need to understand. So we have what we call records in Route 53. We have what we call records. Records are created to route traffic, to route internet traffic to the resources. So whenever you create a domain name, you create a record. So that records is through the records that you will be able to route traffic to the different applications that you have. When I say traffic, like people who are, if people are accessing your application, they are the objects present in the hosted zone, which determines how the internet traffic has to be routed. So if you have like the applications, like you have a disaster recovery application, or maybe you have a backup, excuse me. So you can have records that can actually route that traffic within those applications. And then the other thing is, so that's called records. And then, so they're basically objects that are present within your hosted zone. And then what is hosted zone? Hosted zones, these are domain names. When you register a domain name, Route 53 creates a public hosted zone. So you have public hosted zone, you have private hosted zone. But when you register a domain name, which we are going to see shortly, Route 53 will register a public hosted zone for you. And that hosted zone has some name as the same name as the domain name. It is allocated. It's a location of records that contains information about how to route traffic of each domain name. So it just contains like certain information on how you can route that traffic within that domain, with the domain name. And then you have DNS query. What is DNS query? It is a request. So whenever query is just a request, when you make a request. So whenever you make a request for information from the DNS client, so the DNS have a server. There are different DNS servers. And then you have alias record. So the alias record is used to route traffic to AWS resources like S3, CloudFront, load balancing. So if you want to route traffic within your AWS resources, then you use the alias record. And then the name server, they are the servers in the DNS that translate the domain name into IP addresses. So these are servers. The name servers are just servers that are inside of the DNS. And their main purpose or functionality is to translate whatever name that you have into IP addresses. And then you have DNS failover, the method for routing traffic from unhealthy resources to healthy resources. So again, we are going to see this. We are going to talk about more of this. But basically what this one is, you have, let's say you have two applications that are running on two separate instances or servers. You can put like a DNS failover routing policy. And then what that means is that if one application, let's say application A and application B, if application B fails or something happens to it, whatever request that were coming to application B will now be routed to application A. And then the last thing is routing policy. Routing policies determines how Amazon Route 53 respond to queries. So we are going to talk about some of the routing policies here, but they have it here. So it's just the routing policy just determines how your traffic in Route 53 are going to be queried. So query, like what kind of request are they going to allow? There are different types of routing policy. You have simple routing policy, failover routing policy, geolocation, geo-proximity, latency. So simple routing policy, it is a simple Route 53 routing technique that can be used to route internet traffic to a single resources. So if you want to just route traffic to just a single resources, then you want to use a single routing policy. So for example, you can route traffic to a web server to another web server. So if you want to, let's say you want to route traffic from Gig4Geeks to CloudSki Gateway, then you want to use the routing policy. So it's that's why it's called simple routing policy. So from one application to another application. Routing multiple records with the same name cannot be created, but multiple values such as multiple IP addresses can be specified in the same record. So what they are saying here is you cannot create a record that has the same, you cannot create two records that have the same name, but you can have multiple IP addresses. You can point multiple IP addresses, which are servers, in a single record. They call it multiple IP addresses. Yeah. And then you have failover. So that's basically simple routing. And then failover is whenever a resource goes unhealthy, this policy allows to route the traffic from unhealthy to healthy one. So this is just like, you don't want your end users to start having a lot of issues with your applications. And then you have geolocation routing. So geolocation, this routing policy routes the traffic to resources on the basis of the geographic location of the user. So this policy is taking into account like where the user, where do you reside? The geographical location, where do you reside? Are you in Africa? Are you in the US? Are you in China? Are you in the UK? Are you in Australia? Like just like where do you reside? So this is one of the policies that Netflix, if you see Netflix, like if you go to Africa, you can still access Netflix in certain, not just in the US, let's say in Africa, in Nigeria, when you access content in Nigeria, they give you content from that particular location where you are in Nigeria. They will know that it's because of this routing policy that Netflix has on their application. So it takes your IP address and look at your IP address and say, okay, this person is in North Virginia, or this person is in Africa, and this person is in Botswana or in Sierra Leone, you know. So that's the geolocation. So for example, a person residing in France will be redirected to websites in the French language, while a person from the US will be redirected to the website in English language. So that's the same thing also. It has geolocation. So it detects where you are, where you live. Many applications are like this right now. They do this kind of routing policies. So if you are wondering when you are in you know, and when you go to unless you can search for things, but you mostly they give you content based on where you are. And then you have geo-proximity routing policy. It routes traffic on the basis of the geographical location of the user and the type of content users want to access. So if you look at YouTube the algorithm will check like what kind of content that you want to watch, you like to watch, and so they start giving you content based on that. You know, sometimes if I'll give you a challenge, just give yourself 2 weeks, just be watching videos about IT. In 2 weeks, probably even less than 2 weeks, you start to see like most of the content that will be coming on your YouTube or Google are going to be IT related. It's because of this geo proximity. So it look at like your location, your geographical location, but also it take into account what content this user like to watch. So they will look at like users in the US, what kind of content do they like to watch? So if you look at like even TikTok, you know, they are giving content based on particular countries. You know, they send content, maybe funny videos. They know that, okay, these people, they like funny videos. These people, they like academic stuff. These people, so those, yeah. And then latency base. So the latency base, if a website has to be hosted in multiple regions, then a latency based routing policy is used. So if you are going to use, if you want to create a website and you want to host them in multiple regions, then you want to use the latency based routing policy, because it improves performance for the user. So the latency is like you want the users to be able to access the application seamlessly without like any much headache, you know. And so you bring the application closer to them. So if you are hosting your application, let's say you have users, a lot of customers in Sierra Leone, you want to make sure you host the application somewhere closer to Sierra Leone, or at least you put something in front of your application that will bring, like you can do like content delivery network, like CloudFront, put CloudFront in front of your application that will get a cache of your application and bring it closer to the end users. And then you have multi-value routing policy. So multi-value policy, routing policy, what it is really is when user wants Route 53 to return multiple values in response to DNS queries. So if first check the health of the resources and then returns the multiple value only for the health resources. So this one will take into account like which resources are healthy and which resources are not healthy. And then so it's going to check first, okay, you're asking for this, let me go check if this resource is healthy. If it's not healthy, it only returns like results for healthy resources. And then you have weighted. So weighted is wherein you go in and put weight. You say, I want 50% traffic to go to this particular server. I want 40% traffic to go to this other server. So that's called weighted. So these are DNS record types. So Amazon supports these different DNS record types. So A records. So the A record basically is wherein you want to associate it with IPv4 addresses. And these addresses use top level domain name or subdomain name. So top level domain name is like when you say the .com. Whenever you see a DNS, a domain name server, and then you say .com, you see .com. That's the top level domain name, TLD, the top level domain name. So IP addresses. And then the AAA record, that's for IPv6. So the A record, the single A is for IPv4 or top level domain or subdomain name, or the AA record is for IPv6. So let's see if they have anything on this one here. Okay, so here is this. Let's talk about this one here. Let's talk about, okay, this is specifically for IP address. It's specifically for IP addresses. So yeah, we are not talking about IP addresses. So let's go back to our slide here. Yeah, so you have A record, A record, and then you have CNAME record. So this is called canonical name record. It creates an alias to domain name that points to another domain name. So basically, you use this one when a domain name. So if you are going to point www.google.com to youtube.com, then that will be a canonical name record. That will be a CNAME record. Yeah, so you just point one domain name to another domain name. And then MX record is for mail exchange record. So it's for mostly like email. So here are the benefits of Route 53. I already talked about this. It's highly scalable, highly reliable, highly scalable, highly easy to use. It provides health check. It is flexible. It is simple. It is cost effective. It is secure. Let me see what else here. So you can look at this one's the limitations of Route 53. They have the pricing here. We already talked about this earlier. All right, guys. So let's go. Mercy, you see everything I just showed, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not sharing different screen. So guys, let's create a record. Let's go and start. Let's get started. So before we create this one, first I want us to go and register. I want to show you guys how you can register a domain name. But this screen that you are seeing here, we are going to register. I say choose your registering point. So you can register a domain name. You can transfer a domain name. You can create a hosted zone. You can configure health check, configure traffic flow, configure resolver. So you have a lot of stuff you can do here. So if you have an existing domain name that you have created, so there are a lot of other places that you can get domain name, not just AWS. But I'm going to do it with AWS, so I have everything. If you have a domain name that you want to use, but it is not hosted on AWS, then you want to use this one, transfer domain. You want to bring your own domain. But to register, you just click on, leave that as default. And then maybe we can take a look at, if we have time, look at this site here, and then we can look at those, explore those. So just select this one, register a domain name, and then go next. Get started. So this domain name, the domain name, you pay for them. It is not free. Maybe you can find sites wherein, I'm pretty sure probably there are sites that can provide free domain name. But the domain name, once you get a domain name, that domain name is assigned to you. Nobody can use that domain name. I explained this the last time. If someone wants to use it, they have to pay you to use the domain name. So when I'm talking about domain name, I'm talking about something like so I have. I'm not really good at writing this. So you have cloud, CLOU, cloud. So cloud scale, scale, GATEWA gateway dot COM. So this is my website. This is the domain name for my website, cloudscalegateway.com. So this .com is this is the TDL. TLD, not TDL, TLD. This is the TLD, TLD, and just stand for top level domain name. So sometimes you see .uk, like my state.or, you see .com, .link. So those are all top level domain name. And then the subdomain name. So sometimes you see www, that's the subdomain name. The naked domain name is the domain. So everything here is called a naked domain name, right? So the top domain name, and then with the with this one, the aliases. Okay. So let me clear that. Okay. So I'm gonna. So here, whenever you, so let me go back a little quick. Just go back quick to dashboard. Okay. Register domain name. So once you are in here to register the domain name, register domain. So just put in the name that you want to put. So I'm gonna say DTech. I'm gonna say dtech.com, and then you search. If it is, you can just type the domain name that you want, and then you search, and then AWS is gonna check if that domain name is available. So www.dtech.com is available, but it's $14. So they will give you other options. And they have like dtechnologies.com. You can try like .net, .org. So this is, you can just put anything there. So let's say if I change that to .org and search. So www.com, DTECK, DTech. So it's the .org is available, but they remove the H and put the K for me. I think I will just go with, for me, you can go with anyone that you want. But so you just gotta remember this is $14. So you can do .link and see. So like this one is $5. Detect. I'll go with this one actually. This one is cheap. Dtechnology.link. I'll go with that one. That's cheap. So you select the one that you want, and then they will tell you the price here. The domain registration fee deploy is 1 year. You can change duration on the next page. So you can change. So it's 1 year. So you pay $5 for 1 year. If you choose $15, you are paying $15 for 1 year, which means the other year they will charge you also. So once, if you know you like this, for me, I want this one, so I'm gonna select it. And then I will show you here. You either choose to auto renew. I'm not gonna auto renew. If you want to auto renew, then you can click on this on. What that means is that whatever credit card that you put, they are gonna just automatically renew it after the 1 year. Or you can also make it two years if you want, if you know you are going to use a domain name, or you can even do it for 10 years. Since 10 years is the maximum, that's $50. Well, I'm just going to turn it off. If you turn it off, Amazon, whenever it's coming close, Amazon will notify you. And so from on this page here, what you can do here, asking you, say, general information, contact type. So if you are doing it for organization, then you specify your organization here. So this one, I'm gonna say, it's gonna be for a person. I'm gonna put my name, and then you just put your contact information, your address, your email, and just make sure your contact information is as it is on your AWS account. So the credit card information, your home address, and all those kind of stuff. And then which country are you in? In the US. And then the state that you are in. I'm in Oregon. And then your zip code. Yeah, so if the admin contact is different, make sure you know, if it is same, just leave everything as default. And business, same as business, as the registration contact, yes, it's the same. So I'm gonna leave everything like that. And then go next. And then they will give you acknowledge. Remember to acknowledge. So they give you the drop down what is gonna happen and all those kind of things. And it's gonna be $5. And then you click submit. So they say it's unavailable. But why did you tell me that it was available? I guess we'll have to look for another one. So let me try the .academy one. So that one is $13. Let me see if that one is available. I don't know why they will allow me to search, to go fill everything, and then just to say it wasn't available. So it looks like this. They said this one is available, dtech.academy. You can also see here So let's select this one again. Let's try. It's been giving me this kind of issues. I tried it last time, and it did the same thing. Say person, puts my address.
So Daniel,
Yes.
why is the price different? What
So
makes it different?
yes. So each domain name. Just hold on real quick. That's a good question. So each domain name is different. So the .com, so those are the top level domain name. So they are different. They are expensive. Just hold on. Let me finish this page and then I will go back. Okay. All right,
Okay.
Mercy. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this one was, the creation was good. So I should receive wait, what? I failed again.
Something fail.
Yeah. So I think something might be, yeah, something might be going on. I don't know.
So at the top, when you say registered, it cannot show decline that red
Yeah, I click out of it.
message.
Let's search it again, okay?
Okay.
Not sure. Yeah, it's been doing that lately. I'm not sure what's, so it says exact match available, but I don't know why it's, or let me just leave this auto renewal on. And then say person, if it doesn't work for person, that maybe I will change that person to, okay, so let's see again. The request to register following domain is in progress. You will receive, yeah, so I just received an email. Let me see the request. Yeah, so they sent me an email. They were unable to finish registering domain. So something is going on. So it might be, I'm gonna check my billing just to make sure I don't have there's no billing issue. So let me go. Sorry, guys. Yeah, this is always, you plan for something, but it doesn't always go as you want. So I'm just gonna go check my billing. Okay, so this might be the reason. This might be the reason because like right now it looks like the payment were not completed. Let me see bills. Looks like my card. Okay, so I gotta log in with like the root user. Okay, so this user doesn't have permission to access the billing. So I'm gonna log out and log in as a root user. That's not what I want to do. Log out, log in again. Logging in as a root user. So just put in your root user email. So I'm gonna use Cloud Skill Gateway. Then log in. Okay, so let's check the billing page. It looks like the credit card. I changed my credit card. It looks like it's having some issues. Let's look at bills. I really don't think that should be the issue. Yeah, so I didn't last month. I didn't have anything. This account was 0. Yeah, so there's no.
Maybe because you were not logged in as a root user, because you were saying on the admin that you don't have the permission to access it. So maybe with now that you've logged in
Yeah,
with root user, it's going to let you go through.
yeah. Let's try it. So let's go back to Route 53. So guys, we'll probably just be able to create the if they allow us this time, we'll just create the Route 53. I mean the domain name, and then we can look at. I will do a separate video some other time. Just gonna close some of this page so that it's not slowing me down. But so far, read the theory, everything I've discussed so far, read through, um, watch the video. That was just a high level presentation. So we're gonna go create the record. And let's say DTech. D Academy, not DTech. So it's still available. So now let's try again. But this one is really expensive. Let's see if it will allow us to create the other one. I want something that's a little bit cheaper.
It was the link that was cheaper.
The link.
Yes.
Okay, so dtechnology.link. Okay, so I'll do that one. And then just uncheck that. Say personal, your name, and all your information. And then your address, your country. Just choose the country in which you are, and it has to match with whatever information that you gave. Okay, so let's see. The registration for the following domain name field. Check. Okay, so they said the domain name is unavailable. Okay, so why did you allow me to? The other, which one was available? Was it the D Academy?
The link too is available because they have two. They have the academy and they have the link.
Yeah, the link is the one I tried. They said it's not available, even though they said available. So I'm not sure what's going on with the
Maybe
system.
I think I might assume maybe it's because you are removing the auto renew.
Yeah, but I put the auto renewal earlier on the other one. I think probably there's just a glitch or something. Because I tried it a few days ago or so. It kept giving me the same thing. I said, okay, let me wait for a little bit. And it's been how many days now? And it's still, well, let's see.
Okay.
Let's check its check status. Okay, so this one works.
Yeah.
So you should, once you do this, you should receive, if you go to your email, so if I go to, this is from, if you go to your email, you should get an email. So you have to, you have to confirm the registration. You have to confirm that registration. So I'm just gonna open my email and show you how that registration looks like. Do you see my screen? Do you see my email?
Yes.
So this is how the registration look like. So you will get this email from Amazon, and then it will tell you documentation, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for signing up for Amazon Registrar. You now have access to Amazon Registrar if you interact with Amazon, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah, so it's a go to console. Okay, so let's see here. So it says it's in progress. Yeah, so so you can see like once it's finished, they will create for you a hosted zone. And hosted zones are just like what I explained earlier. The hosted zones, where is that slide again? So the hosted zone, I explained it earlier. The hosted zones are just where they said Route 53 create a public hosted zone that has the same name as the domain name. It is a collection of records that contains information about how to route traffic of its domain and all of its subdomain. So it's a collection of records. So the hosted zone just contains like a collection of records. So once it's finished, it's gonna create one for us. Let me reload. Yeah, I'm looking at this one is gonna take a little. Yeah, so this is gonna take a little while, but let me see the dashboard here. So the hosted zone is not gonna be there. So you see there is one DNS name, one hosted zone. So even though it's still going on the back end, it's still creating. We'll probably not be able to see anything here. because, oh, you see, so they already created one hosting zone for us. Yeah. So this is so if we go in there, inside there, even though it has not finished yet, so you see it has, so by default, you have this SOA. So this is start of authority record, and then this is a name server. These two are, you see, we didn't create them. They were created by default. Yeah. So to create a record, so now we can create a record from this domain. So just click on create record. And from here, create record, you can say switch to wizard. So we want to see this. So these were the things that I talked about earlier. You have simple routing, you have weighted routing. So use simple routing, use if you want all of your clients to receive the same response. So it just give you a little information about them. Weighted, we talk about latency, we talk about geolocation, failover, multi-value answer, proximity, IP base. So these are the kind of record. By far, this is most one we're probably going to use to interact with AWS. But to create a record, you just click on that, and then, or you just select which one you want to select. Let's say you have two servers and you want to distribute how many traffic can go to server A, and if you want 50% or let's say 60% of the traffic to go to server A, and then 40% to go to server B, then you can select this one. Let's see, when you select that, and then it will give you a page like this. So you can put your subdomain name. So you can say www, and then you can choose like the routing policy. So by default, it's going to choose a record, the routing type, a record. So, but you remember we talked about this. We have the A record, we have AA record. So the A record is for IPv4. The AAA record is for IPv6. And then the CNAME record, which is canonical name record, is for routing traffic between one domain name to another domain name. So resolving traffic between two domain names. And then the MX record, this is for mail record. So if you like for email services and all those kind of record. And then TXT record, this is just, it said used to verify email sender. So email sender for application specific value. So if you are doing your application, let's say you have a website, you are hosting a website, you might use this one. Let's say you are hosting it outside of AWS, but you have your domain name in AWS, then you will need this one to modify that. And then there are different CAA, DS, TLS. So you choose that. But so I want to talk about this one really quick. So this one is time to leave, TTL, time to leave. So the TTL, time to leave, this just means that so right now the way it is 300, but you can change this one to TTL. So TTL just means that how long will the IP address stay with the user on their browser. When they search, let's say they go to cloudskigateway.com, or let's say they go to www.dtech.academy. They go there. How long do you want them to cache the IP address for dtech.academy? Do you want the IP address? You want their system to have the IP address for like 1 minute, for 2 minutes or so? So you can choose here. So like this one, you say 1 minute is 60 seconds, 1 hour is 360 seconds. And then 1 day it's like that. So you don't want to do it too small, like 1 minute, because which means every time the user is going to need the application, because the application Route 53 is going to go back to all the name server or DNS server, all that, and count that information again. If you put it to 1 minute, that's too short. But you don't want to put it too long also. So this is a really, really important one, so you can look at the information here. The amount of time in second that you want DNS resolver to resolve to cache information about the records. So the caching, I explained this in our last class. Caching just means if you want ice cream and every day you have to drive 25 miles to go get your ice cream, why can't you just get a freezer that will host your that you just go buy a lot of ice cream and put it there. So the next time you want to eat some ice cream, just go to the freezer and get the ice cream. So instead of driving. So that's what the caching means. The caching, you bring the content closer, so you don't waste time to go. So if you have people in Nigeria or in Sierra Leone, you want them to access the information, you bring the information closer to them. They don't know that. In fact, they would think probably that the server is in Nigeria or in somewhere in Africa. But the reality is probably it's hosted in India, on all those things. If you specify longer value, for example, 172,800 seconds or 2 days, you reduce the number of calls that DNS and reserve. So this is important. In fact, let me just say this, because Amazon is charging you based on the queries, based on the how many IP addresses are being resolved. So based on this, so if you have people, if you make this for too long, it's going to be cached on their IP address for too long. And that's not good, because every query they make, that's how Amazon is going to charge you. Every query they make. So you don't want to make it too short, the time too short, or the time too long. So I will encourage you to read through this. So this is for the weighted. So you just choose, right now I'm just going to say 1 minute, and then you can define wait records. So you can say click on define wait records. So here you can put IP address, or you can select the alias, any alias here. So remember we talk about alias. Alias is just like, it helps you, just like an alias to connect you with like services on AWS. So let's say you have an application load balancer, you can select that, and then you can select your region, let's say Pacific India, and then you can choose. But you got to make sure you have the load balancer first if you're going to select application load balancer. If you are going to select IP addresses, then you put your IP address here. So just like they show you here. And then this is where you're going to put your weight. So you can say, how many percent do you want? So I want, like, let's say 60%, the weight of each records that has the same name and type determine the proportion of DNS, blah, blah, blah. So remember, it has to have the same name, and yeah. So you can say 60%. And then you do it for the other records also, the same thing. And then here you can, if you have a health check, you can do your health check here. And then the record ID, you can put the record ID there, the record ID here. But that's not what we're going to do. So we're going to go back. So if you click on hosted zone again, no, not hosted zone. Records. Simple routing. So we are going to do the demo in the class. So this is just today to go over like Route 53. So remember, so Route 53 is not a load balancer. It just helps resolve your IP addresses to the appropriate applications and your traffic. So let's see if that thing has finished. Yep, so this one is successful. So I have a domain name now. So this domain name is DTech. So I can create a website and connect this, just the same thing that when you see CloudScape Gateway, that's the same thing that I have. I have CloudScape Gateway hosted on my other AWS account. So probably I'm going to transfer it to this account here. But this is what you are going to do. So we'll do the live demo. Now this is created. Or maybe I have 5 minutes. I'll just wait for the class. So if you go to hosted zones, you see the hosted zone, you see that just because they've created for you so you see DTech Academy, it's public, Route 53, and blah, blah, blah. And so if you go inside this one, you can see that. So right now we don't have any health check. We have to configure that health check. And also we'll do that like in a class, but if you take a look at, you see that the health check will just make sure that all the applications are running healthy. And if they are not running healthy, what do you do about them? Are you going to route the traffic? So if you click on say create health check, and then it just gives I'm just going to say my or demo health check. And then you say endpoint. What endpoint do you want to do? You want to use IP addresses, CloudWatch, CloudWatch alarm, calculator health check. So if you select, you can select you have to have like some health check monitor here. So you can see endpoints. So if you choose endpoints, establish a connection with the resource to determine its health check. So here you have to bring in the endpoints here. I say the paths can be any value to which your endpoint will return HTTP status code, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So you can say domain name. So if you say domain name, make sure you put the domain name here. But when you say IP address, make sure you come here, you put your IP address. So you can set if you have like if it's gonna be like HTTPS, if it's gonna be secure, if it's gonna be TCP, you choose TCP. So that's what we we'll do. We'll cover that in our next lesson. I was gonna stay more time, but I gotta prepare to go to work. But guys, that's all for Route 53. Make sure when you are creating the domain name, if the domain name is in use, as you can see here, it took a lot of time because we keep trying, and finally we were able to get one that works. So I will we'll do the demo on Saturday. So this is just like a high overview of like what Route 53 is. We've talked about DNS, we'll talk about Route 53. So we just need to do the demo, and that's not going to take us long. And then that will be it for Route 53. And then we'll go to like load balancing and so forth. All right, guys, I'm going to stop the recording. I'll send this recording later today.